I don't suppose you could offer any more help?
Now that you mention it, I do have one more thing to offer.
The stew is bubbling, Mother dear. Shall we have 2 guests for the eve, or none?
The Grey Wardens are leaving shortly, girl. And you will be joining them.
Really?
Such a shame. What?
You heard me, girl. The last time I looked, you had ears.
Well, thank you, but if Morrigan doesn't wish to join us...
Her magic will be useful. Even better, she knows the wilds and how to get past the horde.
Have I no say in this?
You have been itching to get out of the wilds for years. Here is your chance. As for you, Wardens, consider this repayment for your lives.
Was this your idea all along?
Pardon me, but I had the impression that you two needed assistance, whatever the form.
Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but won't this add to our problems? Out of the wilds, she's an apostate.
If you do not wish help from us illegal mages, young man, perhaps I should have left you on that tower.
Touché.
Point taken.
Yes.
Mother, this is not how I wanted this. I'm not even ready.
You must be ready. Alone, these two must unite for Eldon against the Darkspawn. They need you, Morrigan. Without you, they will surely fail, and all will perish under the blight. Even I.
I understand.
And you, Wardens, do you understand? I give you that which I value above all in this world. I do this because you must succeed.
Well, alright. She won't come to harm with us.
Allow me to get my things, if you please.
She doesn't seem too bad.
I am at your disposal, Grey Wardens. I suggest a village north of the wilds as our first destination. 'Tis not far, and you will find much you need there. Or, if you prefer, I shall simply be your silent guide. The choice is yours.
I don't think Angelus would want Morgan to be a silent guide because it reminds him too much of how his people, the elves, were treated by the humans in the alienage back in Denerim, so no, I prefer you speak your mind.
You will regret saying that.
Dear, sweet mother, you are so kind to cast me out like this. How fondly I shall remember this moment.
Well, I always said, if you want something done, do it yourself, or hear about it for a decade or two afterwards.
Do you really want to take her along because her mother says so?
Well, we need all the help we can get.
I guess you're right. The Grey Wardens have always taken allies where they could find them.
I am so pleased to have your approval.
Actually, I have some questions.
I may have answers. Ask.
Are you really Flemeth's daughter?
'Twas she who raised me, and thus I consider her my mother, born from her womb or not. 'Tis what you meant, yes?
She's just gonna stay here alone?
Mother was alone long before I came, and will be so long after I am dead. Such is her choice, though I suspect she would claim the choice was made for her.
Have you never been outside of the wilds?
From time to time. I have been to the village I mentioned, watched its people, and pondered what curious beings they are. On occasion, I purchased goods from the village merchants. There I spoke with men a little. There they stared and knew me as an outsider. Mother wishes for me to expand the horizon of my experience beyond the wilds. Even she was not born here.
Is that what you meant?
What I want
Is that what you want?
is to see mountains. I wish to witness the ocean and step into its waters. I want to experience a city rather than see it in my mind. So, yes, this is what I want. Actually, leaving is harder than I thought, however. Perhaps Mother is right. It must simply be done quickly.
Tell me about this village to the north.
'Tis a small place of little consequence called Lothering. No more than a stop along your imperial highway where travellers purchase goods from local farms and smiths. I would go more often were it not for the town's chantry. It makes the village particularly intolerant and unpleasant for a stranger such as me.
A chantry? And they never in all this time thought that maybe you were a witch?
Of course they have. They even called out their Templars once. They found nothing.
Is there any reason to go to Lothering then?
I mention it for its tavern, where travellers gather with news from other places. 'Tis small enough that our appearance might go unnoticed. Beyond that, 'tis close, and I know the way.
Alright, fair enough. How are we gonna get past the Darkspawn?
The real question is how we are going to get your friend past the Darkspawn, is it not?
That's true. We can sense the Darkspawn. Conversely, they can sense us.
I don't sense any Darkspawn.
You won't right away. No. It takes time. We should be able to sneak past smaller groups, but larger ones, or particularly intelligent Darkspawn, will always detect us.
Mother has given me something else for them to smell instead as we pass by. 'Tis important we head out of the wilds, however, not farther in.
The Darkspawn are camped farther in the forest?
They come from underground, like an eruption. They broke through deep within the forest, and that is where they will be most concentrated.
And what skills do you have exactly?
I know a few spells, though I am nowhere near as powerful as Mother. I have also studied history and your Grey Warden treaties.
Really?
Can you cook?
I can cook, yes.
Oh, good. Then you can substitute for Alistair.
Right, my cooking will kill us. That's all I meant.
I also know at least 15 different poisons that grow right here in this marsh. Not that I would suggest 'tis at all related to cooking.
Great. Great. Alright, I have no more questions.
Farewell, Mother. Do not forget the stew on the fire. I would hate to return to a burned-down hut.
Bah! 'Tis far more likely you will return to see this entire area, along with my hut, swallowed up by the blight.
All I meant was...
Yes, I know. Do try to have fun, dear.
Excellent. So now we have...
'tis you.
Yes, 'tis I. We now have a new companion, Morrigan. And I think it would be... No, I think it would be horrible to take Morrigan out of her robes, because they're just... You know, they're her. They're just her. Let's throw on an... Oh gosh, an apprentice cowl, even though it looks terrible on her. But that's okay. And... +2 constitution, +2 armor. Yeah, let's do this. +6 willpower and +6 spell power. And... I think that's pretty decent for Alistair. I won't have to... This gives +2 strength and +2 constitution. I don't know if I necessarily like that any better than the high regard of the House Dace. But... I'll give her... Yeah, Wildstone clasp is pretty decent, and so is what she already has. Yeah, I don't think I'm really gonna change anything for Morrigan. I kinda like what she has. Okay. Let's save for a second. Yeah, there we go. Before we head out, I want to chat with Flemeth a little bit more.
Have you not left yet? I hope you are not hanging about for some stew.
You know, you could come with us, you know.
Huh, I prefer to remain here. Considering what the world has done to me, I have already done more than it deserves.
And what has the world done to you?
That is between the world and me. Your business is elsewhere.
Touché. But you're more powerful than we are.
It is not a matter of power. No one person in all of Thedas has enough power to stand against a blight. Were that the case, sending you two would be quite the jest. What is important is that you are both Grey Wardens. Your task is to unite the land, inspire its men, and turn them from their petty politics to face the archdemon. In that, you are more powerful than I by far. I am but an old woman whom the world has largely forgotten.
Alright, fair enough. Could you answer some questions?
Questions. One would think a Grey Warden would be more interested in action.
Well, can I ask you about your magic?
What good would it do you? You are no mage. It is sufficient that I have passed on my knowledge to Morrigan, and I pass her on to you.
Like a worn dress or an old pair of shoes.
Are you still here? You cannot give them away, apparently.
How long have you lived in the wilds?
Since before I was wrinkled and old. You may think it strange, but I was once young and beautiful, just as Morrigan is now. Yes, men desired Flemeth then, and some even killed for her.
Really? That must have been a long time ago.
You will need that smart mouth for more than asking me silly questions.
What will you do once we're gone?
Have a moment's peace for once.
I hear the peace of the grave is eternal.
This is the thanks I get for feeding you and putting up with you for this long. May your child one day treat you the same.
Feed me, she says. Without me, I swear, she shall be caked in dirt and eating tree bark inside of a month.
Alright, Flemeth. Lastly, do you have any advice?
About the Darkspawn?
About anything, really.
Then hear this. I laugh at a world full of stupid humans who ignore the Blight's evil and abandon their vigilance to chase mortal goals. Remember, it is up to you to destroy the Blight. Pray not for someone else to destroy it. It will always nip at your heels.
Alright, fine. I have no more questions then.
Then we are done. Now, if you will excuse me, I have some dinner to eat.
Well, now that we have Morrigan in our group, we should probably chat with her a little bit too, just to, get to know her a little bit.
The time has come to leave the wilds. Do you not agree?
Or maybe we can't do that just yet. Al, how are you feeling, buddy?
What do you need?
So, Al, do you want to talk about Duncan?
You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did.
Well, he was like a father to you. I kind of understand that.
I should have handled it better. Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost it, not when so much is riding on us, not with the Blight and everything. I'm sorry.
Oh. There's no need to apologize, man.
I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of.
Well, he had you.
I suppose he did. It probably sounds stupid, but part of me wishes I was with him, in the battle. I feel like I abandoned him.
But he saved your life by sending you to the tower.
Yes, I know. I think he came from High Ever, or so he said. Maybe I'll go up there sometime. See about putting up something in his honor. I don't know. Have you had someone close to you die? Not that I mean to pry, I'm just...
Oh, Alistair's Alistair's confiding in us. This is very exciting. I feel like we're really starting to bond here. I saw plenty of death in the alienage.
Yes, I suppose you must have. I can't even imagine, really. Thank you. Really, I mean it. It was good to talk about it, at least a little.
Aww. See, I know that there are those people who after playing through Dragon Age Origins, found Alistair to be, in their words, whiny, annoying and whiny, similar to, I think, Carth Onasi in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And I personally never see it. I never saw that in Alistair. I mean, I really am a sucker for guys who have a sensitive side. Because, I mean, Alistair obviously can take care of himself physically. I mean, he's a very strong character physically. And I think that mixing that with a bit of sensitivity and vulnerability, I find that to be a very attractive trait for any guy, not just romantically, but as a friend, as platonically as well. You know, I like the nice guys. I don't like the rebellious types, at least romantically. So while I guess I understand why people out there are not really big fans of Alistair, I'm definitely a huge fan of his because he's vulnerable, and it's that vulnerability that and sensitivity that I tend to be that tends to draw me towards his personality. Well, maybe I'll go to High Ever with you. You know, when you go.
I'd like that. So would he, I think.
Aww, Alistair approves. +5. Do you want to talk anymore?
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something, Al.
Ask away.
So, how did you become a Grey Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
I meant before that.
Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
What skills might those be?
Well, it wasn't an easy life, you know. I don't know whether or not you've noticed, but I'm not exactly the Chantry type. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
So why did the Grand Cleric want to keep you?
I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
Aww. I'm sorry.
No, it's... I'm sorry. I shouldn't be... It's fine. He died a hero. They all did. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
Alistair approves +1.
What do you need?
Can I ask you something else?
Ask away.
Sorry, Al. I just really want to get to know you more. What can a Templar do exactly?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
So Templars use magic themselves?
You could call it that, sure. The Chantry doesn't look on it the same way, however, since really our talents only work on mages. Against a regular person, I'm just a guy in a metal suit.
Well, I mean, if you ever want to be a guy out of a metal suit, I mean, that would be perfectly fine by me. So couldn't others learn these talents?
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted.
Oh.
And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put two and two together.
So you were addicted to this lyrium?
Thankfully, no. You only start receiving lyrium once you've taken your vows. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me. What do you need? Ask away.
Can you teach others to be a Templar?
I suppose I could. But I really would rather not.
Oh.
When the Grand Cleric let Duncan recruit me, she made me swear never to reveal Templar secrets outside of the Chantry. I'd rather not go back on my word.
Alright, well, very well. I'll respect your word then.
Ask me later, perhaps. Maybe I'll change my mind. This is not something small you're asking, after all.
I understand. Nope, no biggie, no problem.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something else.
Ask away.
Tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
Whoa, there's a lot I can ask you about the Grey Wardens. Where are the nearest Grey Wardens from here?
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands.
Is there a headquarters somewhere?
Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfells, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
Bummer. So what happens now that there's just two of us?
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us.
Yeah, no pressure, right? Will we need to start rebuilding the Order?
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be two of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
Alright. Angelus wouldn't ask this question, so I'm just gonna say, I have no more questions.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need?
One more thing, Al.
Ask away.
So you said this Arl Eamon raised you?
Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
Really? That must have been tough for them.
Well, they were flying dogs, you see. Surprisingly strict parents, too. And devout Andrastians to boot.
And these dogs sold you to the Chantry, I take it.
Oh, there you go, listening to me again. You'd think you'd have gotten past that already. I ended up in the Chantry, sure, but I didn't start there. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind.
Right.
My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Our Lehman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
He wasn't your father? So you know who is?
I know who I was told was my father. He died even before my mother did, anyhow. It isn't important. Our Lehman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10. Just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
I find that kind of hard to believe, Al. What an awful thing to do to a child.
Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do.
Huh.
The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
Oh. Well, you were young.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.